When you first picked up the guitar, your first thing you want to do is just play in front of your friends, have everyone think you're cool and look like you're really good at something. And this could be expressed by anything like an acoustic guitar, serenading a campfire, or maybe playing some cool electric lead lines. And of course, to do these things, it took way more skill than when you thought when first beginning, which is why you need to understand the fundamentals of making your own music or making good improvisations. And that is always going to come down to scales. And the reason it comes down to scales is in any organized song, we have something called a key, which is basically a group of notes that make up a major scale. And since they make up that major scale, those are the 7 correct notes in the key. But as we know, there's 12 notes across the guitar neck that repeat over and over and over. So how do we eliminate the 5 that are going to sound ugly while always playing on the 7 that are good without having to think about it? And which is what this video is all about. So now that you understand why it's important, we're gonna go with level 1, which is something every beginner needs to do first. And that is going to be, you have to know your E and A strings and where every note falls on them. This is a lot easier than it seems, and after a couple days of practice, you're really gonna have it down. The way I recommend it is use some type of random letter generator thing on your phone, and then whenever a note pops up, you find it, like for example, G sharp, above and below the 12th fret, and then play it if it is playable. And as you do this, you're gonna start to understand where notes are and kind of how they order, which is gonna be absolutely vital for level 2. What you're gonna do with level 2 is you're gonna pick a note, then you're going to play a major scale off of it. And a major scale can be made by this pattern right here that makes up this. And the reason we learn the major scale first is going to be the fundamental order for how we build the other 7 scale modes, which means intuitively our third level is going to be to learn the corresponding minor pentatonic scale to whichever major scale you choose on the low E string. For example, if you were to choose this B major scale, you would go down 3 half steps in pitch to play its relative minor scale. And of course, the minor scale is going to be mapped by this corresponding scale like I played. And once you pair those two together, you're going to start understanding how chords come together, like your 1, 4, 5, and your 6, 2, and 3. So by having that level 3 understanding, which is very, very attainable as a beginner, you're going to be able to start dancing around with chords, and you're going to be able to connect 2 big scales together. So the next level is going to be learning the big repeating pattern that I showcased in a few other videos that teach you how to make the major scale, the minor scale, and the other 5 modal scales of the major scale. And the reason these are important is you are starting the major scale from a different position on each of the 7 different notes of the major scale. So no matter where you are, you know exactly how you can find the next notes in the right vicinity because you just know the 7 scale shapes. And the reason these scale shapes make sense is if we take the order of the major scale of whole step, half step, whole, half, and just keep this exact same ratio in this same pattern, but maybe we just switch where we start. Like instead we start on that first half, and now we've changed the major scale to look like this. We are playing the exact same notes in the exact same relative order, both a different starting emphasis position. This is where the different modes get their slightly varying emotion and why things actually just work the way they do on guitar and in music in general, which is really, really awesome. And that is the level 4 understanding. And what's awesome about getting to that big final level of level 5 is you now have to take these and then eliminate 2 of the notes in that major scale to make your pentatonic scale. And what's super, super awesome about pentatonic scales being in the final level is you are now learning by removal. And there's a reason why I did this in this video. If you learn pentatonic scales first, it's gonna feel really, really easy, and that's awesome. And because they're super comfortable to dance around with for solos. However, if you're trying to navigate the fretboard, those 2 extra notes are insanely helpful and insanely hard to learn if they're not already programmed in your brain. So by learning the hard stuff first and learning by removal instead of addition, you're gonna master pentatonic scales in just a couple weeks after you've done all the heavy lifting from learning the scale part of music theory. And after you learn these pentatonic scales, you'll know exactly how to play a couple different scale types from each note in the major scale. And as you do this more and more and more, you're not going to even have to think about it, and you can solo along to your favorite songs and backing tracks effortlessly, in which you add more frets to keep the patterns going on and unlock new pitches. And if you want more guitar content like this that teaches you how to learn more efficiently, subscribe for more.